Welcome guys to volume 6 of The Wolf Queen. In the last book we had Potema showing up at the Imperial City because her brother actually started succumbing to the illnesses he had acquired over the years, and so he was placed into a coma, and then his daughter was set up to rule. But then she went behind her back to the Elder Council and was trying to tell them that she may be an illegitimate child and how her son is the only legitimate heir that they should consider. Now that does eventually backfire, and then it turns around and gets Kintyra notified of the fact that her aunt had pulled all this, and she banishes her from the future coronation. So in that regard, kind of backfired on her again, did not help her out. Now Kintyra is aware of her stuff. She goes back into the room of her family there at the end and tells them that the thing she does best is war, because she gets mad when Kintyra calls her out at the end. So now we're going to push forward and see where it leads us, and we're going to continue with the Wolf Queen saga. But this is the Wolf Queen Book 6 by Waffen Yarth, from the pen of Anzalicus, 2nd century sage. So guys, this guy is no longer the student, and seems by at this point, which is not a huge time ahead from the last one, he's already become the 2nd century sage, no longer a student, but the sage himself. So 3rd era, year 120. The 15-year-old Empress Kintyra Septim II, daughter of Antiochus, was coronated on the 3rd day of first seed. Her uncles Magnus, king of Lilmoth, and Sepphoris, king of Galain, were in attendance, but her aunt Potema, the Wolf Queen of Solitude, had been banished from the court. Once back in her kingdom, Queen Potema began assembling the rebellion, which was to be known as the War of the Red Diamond. All the allies she had made over the years of disgruntled kings and nobles joined forces with her against the new empress. The first early strikes against the empire were entirely successful. Throughout Skyrim and northern High Rock, the imperial army found themselves under attack. Potema and her forces washed over Tamriel like a plague, inciting riots and insurrections everywhere they touched. In the autumn of the year, the loyal Duke of Glenpoint on the coast of High Rock sent an urgent request for reinforcements from the imperial army, and Kintyra, to inspire the resistance to the Wolf Queen, led the army herself. So right here we already have that the Duke has asked for help. Kintyra for some reason decides to lead the army herself. I don't know if she was ever trained in war. Nothing really pointed towards that, other than back when Potema told Kintyra that she kind of reminded her of herself, you know, a little bit. But now she's leading the army against her own aunt. So 3rd era, year 121. We don't know where they are, said the Duke, deeply embarrassed. I've sent scouts all over the countryside. I can only assume they've retreated up north upon hearing of your army's arrival. I hate to say it, but I was hoping for a battle, said Kintyra. I'd like to put my aunt's head on a spike and parade it around the empire. Her son Uriel and his army are right on the border to the imperial province, mocking me. How are they able to be so successful? Are they just that good in battle, or do my subjects truly hate me? She was tired after many months of struggling through the mud of autumn and winter. Crossing the Dragontail Mountains, her army nearly marched into an ambush. A blizzard snap in the normally temperate barony of Dwynnon was so unexpected and severe that it was most certainly had been cast by one of Potema's wizard allies. Everywhere she turned, she felt her aunt's touch, and now her chance of facing the Wolf Queen at last had been thwarted. It was almost too much to bear. It is fear, pure and simple, said the Duke. That is her greatest weapon. I need to ask, said Kintyra, hoping that by sheer will she could keep her voice from revealing any of the fear the Duke spoke of. You've seen the army. Is it true that she has summoned a force of undead warriors to do her bidding? No, as a matter of fact, it's not true, but she certainly fosters that rumor. Her army attacks at night, partly for strategic reasons and partly to advance fears like that. She has, so far as I know, no supernatural aid other than the standard battle mages and nightblades of any modern army. Always at night, said Kintyra thoughtfully. I suppose that's to disguise their numbers, and to move her troops into position before we're aware of them, added the Duke. She's the master of the sneak attack. When you hear a march to the east, you can be certain she's already on top of you from the south. But listen, we'll discuss this all tomorrow morning. I prepared the castle's best rooms for you and your men. Kintyra sat in her tower suite, and by the light of the moon and a single tallow candle, she penned a letter to her husband-to-be, Lord Modellus, back in the imperial city. She hoped to be married to him in the summer at the Blue Palace her grandmother Quintilla had loved so much, but the war may not permit it. As she wrote, she gazed out the window at the courtyard below and the haunted, leafless trees of winter. Two of her guards stood on the battlements, several feet away from one another, just like Modellus and Kintyra, she thought, and proceeded to expound on the metaphor in her letter. A knock at the door interrupted her poetry. "A letter, your majesty, from Lord Modellus," said the young courier, handing the note to her. It was short, and she read it quickly before the courier had a chance to retire. "I'm confused by something. When did he write this?" "1 week ago," said the courier. "He said it was urgent that I make make it here as quickly as possible while he mobilized the army. I imagine they've left the city already. Kintyra dismissed the courier. Modellus said that he had received a letter from her, urgently calling for reinforcements to the battle at Glenpoint. But there was no such battle at Glenpoint, and she had only just arrived today. Then who wrote the letter in her handwriting, and why would they want Modellus to bring a second army out of the Imperial City in the High Rock? Feeling a chill from the night air at the window, Kintyra went to shut the latch. The two guards on the battlements were gone. She leaned over at the sound of a muffled struggle behind one of the barren trees, and did not hear the door open. When she turned, she saw Queen Potema and Menton, Duke of Glenpoint, in the room with a host of guards. "You move quietly, Aunt," she said after a moment's pause. She turned to the Duke. "What turned you against your loyalty to the Empire? Fear and gold," said the Duke simply. "What happened to my army?" asked Kintyra, trying to look Potema steadily in the face. "Is the battle over so soon?" "All your men are dead," smiled Potema. "But there was no battle here, merely quiet and efficient assassination. There will be battles ahead against Modellus in the Dragontail Mountains and against the remnants of the Imperial army in the city. I'll send you regular updates on the progress of the war." "So I'm to be kept here as your hostage?" asked Kintyra flatly, suddenly aware of the solidity of the stones and the great height of her tower room. "Damn you, look at me, I am your empress. Think of it this way. I'm taking you from being a fifth-rate ruler to a first-rate martyr," said Potema with a wink, "but I understand if you don't want to thank me for that." So, in this one, Potema has completely and utterly destroyed Kintyra. Her army's been decimated, all the guards have been wiped out, and she's being left in this tower, potentially for dead, because she's going to martyr her. So this is obviously Kintyra losing. It kind of happened quickly from the point of her just making Kintyra mad to the point where now she's already defeated her. I would like to have seen a little bit of fluff in between, maybe some left and writing from it, but it just went straight to Kintyra's loss. So guys, that will be the 6th volume. If you like this stuff, go ahead and leave me a comment, leave a little like on the video if you think you had a good time with it, and let me know other things I can look into. But for now, I'm just going to thank you once again for sticking out through another volume, and I'll catch you in the very next one. But you guys have a good one now, and bye-bye. Appreciate it.